Tom Basso. Welcome to Crowd Surfing, a show in which we talk about all the stuff that's coming up on Kickstarter, different things about Kickstarter. And it's the middle of the summer, which means Kickstarter campaigns are in full bloom. There's a lot of really big things happening because this is the time of year where people are looking for new games to come out, and they're coming out everywhere, and that includes Kickstarter. So let's get started with the news. Okay, first we have Bullseye. These are bullet-shaped metal dice. I think this is kind of an interesting thing because I'm always a sucker for dice, of course. These are round metal dice, and they look like they roll okay. You know, I'm always tempted with round that they'll roll too far, but in the video it looks like they stop. They look great, except for I wonder if when I look at the markings, I'll know if the dice is a 5 or a 3 or whatever. We'll see. I'm tempted to get them. Explorers of the North Sea, Rocks of Ruin. This is an expansion for Explorers of the North Sea. This company is doing really well these days, mostly because Raiders of the North Sea was nominated for the Kennerspiel Game of the Year. This one I've actually never played. Looks like a more exploring game in the Viking universe here. Love the art of it. Adds more players, new buildings, shipwrecks. And I also like the fact that they did not put a stretch goal. They said we don't have any stretch goals. That's fine. If you don't have any stretch goals, then you straight up don't need them. Legendary Creatures. This is from Pencil First Games. I have kind of an off and on relationship, how much I like their games. But this one looks pretty interesting. It's a deck building game. Looks like you start with asymmetrical decks, and the reviews for it have been across the board pretty positive. So there's that. Ink Monsters. This is from Albino Dragons, mostly known for making decks of cards. This one also looks pretty fun. This one doesn't look like it's going to fund, though, which is unfortunate. From Daryl Andrews, this game, and I love the theming of this one. I like how you have these monsters that you are drawing. There's like a pencil that moves around, and you're manipulating where this pencil goes, and using special abilities of monsters. That's a fun theme, and the art looks really fun. So I hope this one does fund. Entrenched, Trench Run Terrain for X-Wing. I'm actually surprised. This one, I'm surprised it's not, taken down or something. It looks like it's not official or anything, but who knows? Either way, I've seen custom trench runs for X-Wing before. This one looks really good. It has magnetic bases. It comes with a really neat dice tower that looks like a turret. I really want that dice tower. The whole thing is a little pricey, $2.99 if you get everything, although you can get different parts of it if you want to. But it looks really cool. The biggest problem with it is probably not the price. It's once you buy it, where do you store such a cool thing? Crusades, Thy Will Be Done, Deluxeified. This is the new tack that Tasty Minstrel is doing, where they have these games that they're going to be deluxeified, and they're super cool, upgrade everything from meeples to miniatures and stuff, and then there will only be a certain number of copies for Kickstarter backers and maybe sold at conventions. I'm not so keen on the practice myself, but this one does look really good from Seth Jaffe. You have your own personal rondel that you're upgrading and changing, and buildings. Very Euro-y, but looks good, taking place in, of course, the Crusades time. Pepper and Carrot, the Potion Contest. Now, this one just crossed my path. I don't know anything about it. I looked, and it's based on a webcomic that I really enjoyed. I didn't read all the webcomics, but the ones I did, really fun painting, cool. I've subscribed to it, so I'm going to read more of that. But in this game, it's just a basic game about you or a witch with your familiar trying to do different things with potions and things. The comic was really cool. I don't know if the game is. We'll have to wait and see. It's the first game from this company, Loyalist Games. My pick of the week is Beast of Balance, a new edition and a battle expansion. Beast of Balance is a great game. I have it at my house. You hook it up with your iPhone, well, your iPad, I guess, and on it or your iPhone or iPad, I guess it works with both of them, but you have this device and you're putting these different things on it and stacking them. It's like a dexterity game, but there's actually also things showing up on the screen, and you're merging monsters together and crossbreeding different monsters, and it's a lot of fun. This one adds more monsters. There's a flamingo and an anglerfish, but also adds battle. The original one is barely a game, right? You're trying to stack things without them falling, see how many points you can get. In this one, though, you can fight each other with these battle cards that also scan on this device. Really pumped about this one. I love the original. It works well. My 3-year-old plays it. I play it. All kinds of, there's so many cool things you can do with it. It's really cool. Endless Metal Dice. These are some of the nicest looking dice I've ever seen. I think they're called Endless Metal because if you follow the path, it goes all the way around it. I'm not sure. Really well designed. These dice look like incredibly high quality, but they run into a problem that I mentioned at the beginning with the bullet dice, is that these even more so, I'm not sure I would be able to quickly tell what I've rolled. But again, I'm willing to try. That's how good these look. Who Goes There? This is a cooperative game based on the book they say that inspired The Thing. Now, while The Thing seems like a fairly dark movie, this looks very fun and friendly. And I mean, it's a game in which you're trying to find things to survive, and you're going to go around, and there's also the possibility that someone is the thing. Now, this makes for an excellent board game. The artwork in this game looks really well done. Almost picked this for my pick of the week because this just looks really good. I don't believe I've seen many other games from this company or designer, so I'm very curious about it, but the theme... Cave In. This is a discard building game. Instead of a deck building, I think you're trying to get rid of cards. Not quite sure, actually, but you're mining and hiring mercenaries, and another game that looks really good. That's like the theme of this week, is that across the board, many of the games look great. That's Cave In. Founders of Gloomhaven. I wonder why this one's doing so well. It really is. The designer has, of course, established himself now that Gloomhaven is out. This game actually has nothing to do with Gloomhaven in gameplay, only in theme. Gloomhaven is a city with lots of different races in it, and in this game you are coming together to build the city. You're placing different things out, combining those with things that other people have placed to make better things. So the concept is cool. We'll have to see. I wasn't a fan of his first game, but Gloomhaven, of course, I really adore. So we'll see if the third one, which way the pendulum will swing. Either way, this one is funding phenomenally well. Dark Raven. This is some fantasy orc zombie sound effects. I've done some of their music in the past, years ago actually, where they make a lot of music to listen to while you play board games and RPGs, miniature games. And this one is for basically, well, like I said, zombies, orcs, and fantasy. A lot of battle music. Epoch the Awakening. This is a throne. Epoch the Awakening has you're putting together different combinations and has some really unique art in this one. When I saw Epoch the Awakening, I was like, oh, okay, I'll skip to the next one. But the art really caught my eye because it looks different, and you're putting things together. You are a person who's thrown overboard off of a ship, and then you are going to go around and upgrade your skills and combine skills and do things. I really like the concept of that. That sounds good. That's the kind of thing when I come across on Kickstarter, I'm like, oh, this is really intriguing. And they say the designers worked on it for years, lots of playtesters, so we can hope. Please be good, please be good, please be good. Star Realms Frontiers. This is the newest version of Star Realms. Actually, it's a brand new game, but it's compatible with the original Star Realms. And it looks like they're basically upgrading it to be like Hero Realms, where there are specific faction packs that you can control different factions and have kind of special abilities and such. Lots of different things included here. Master of the Galaxy. This is a 4X game from Ares Game. My biggest concern with this one is I like 4X games. Exterminate, Expand, Explore, and Extinguish. That's not actually the other one. It's basically... anyway, so there's 4X games where you're just going out and learning and growing. I do wonder... This one looks very Euro-y, which is fine. Lots of cubes and stuff, but this doesn't pop. A lot of these other ones I talked about, they kind of popped off. I'm wondering if maybe this is more prototypes that we're seeing in the expansion. I mean, on the Kickstarter page or not. Well, one can hope. And finally, this one's kind of silly, and that's Hands of Glory. These are just miniatures where their hands come off, and you can switch out magnetically what's in their hands. So they can be holding a sword, can be holding a torch. I'm not a big player of RPGs. I think they're fun and fine and all that. But if I did play one, this would be certainly something I'd consider because it'd be fun to walk around with a sword. Then I'm holding a mug, and then I have a lantern and things like that. So anyway, that's what I found on Kickstarter this time. Let's continue on.
Hello! This is Kickstarter First Impressions. My name's Mike, and I'll be your host. In this exciting episode, I'm going to show you a Kickstarter package I got in the mail that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. Almost 1,300 backers pledged over $150,000 to bring this project to life. And Seth Hyatt of Mayday Games did an excellent job because this board is awesome and definitely worth the $99 that I paid for it. Let me show you how it came to me, how I unpacked it, and what it looks like afterwards. every Kickstarter project, there's the good, there's the bad, and there's the ugly. The good in this project is definitely the quality of the board. Great quality, well done, doesn't look like it's warping, anything weird like that, and I'm going to be able to hang it on my wall. Now I did opt to buy the clock that would go in the middle. This is the bad. This is the clock box. This is the clock that came with it. For $6, I'm not going to complain a whole lot. I guess I just expected more of a clock and less of a drawing by a 3 to 7-year-old. And these things, I know I've got to probably adjust them quite a bit. I will eventually make this work, but I will probably change this background to something a lot more cooler. And now the ugly. I don't think this game came to me like this. It might have, I didn't notice it, but I might have done this myself. See this? Something happened there. I don't know when, where, so I'm taking full responsibility for that. But if yours came that way, then maybe it's something else. Thanks for watching Kickstarter First Impressions with Mike. I'll see you next time.
Oh hey, what's funding? Just enough time to take a very brief look at a game that's currently crowdfunding right now, and today we're taking a look at Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done. So here we're taking a look at Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done. Now this is a prototype copy, and as such a lot of pieces aren't final components such as these, which will be actual buildings in the final copy. In this game, players will be working across Europe, defeating enemies, building buildings, but the main crux of this game is this Mancala mechanism here, where you'll actually be picking an action such as crusading, which is defeating enemies, building buildings, gathering influence, mustering troops to help you in your conquest, and then picking up those cubes and redistributing them in clockwise fashion. Another thing you can do on your turn, potentially, is to upgrade, which will give a particular bin in your particular Mancala multiple actions that you can take. Now, the game itself does have bonuses as well for building types of buildings, and when you build buildings, you will gain abilities such as gaining 1 to your influence or your muster. The game also does have variable player powers that are sent out at the beginning of the game, and you're just going to be doing that to a certain number of points, at which time you will finish out that last round and then give any bonus points awarded at the end of the game. Whoever has the most points is the winner. So that's a very brief look at Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done. Now, as I said in the overview, the game does employ a Mancala rondel style mechanism, and the designer has stated that he was inspired by games like Trajan. However, even if you already own Trajan, this is still a game you're going to want to take a look at. The theme in the game could have been darker than it is, but they chose to go with a less historical version of the Crusades, and that really works for making this game more accessible. The game is very casual in the gameplay, and the rules are very light and should be easily taught. One thing that I really did enjoy was the rondels themselves, and that you're able to upgrade those player bins throughout the game, thus creating your own unique player board, and that really works well, especially with the variable player powers that are given out at the beginning of the game. All in all, I really did enjoy this game. It took a couple plays to really get a feel for it, but once you do, you're going to really find a lot of strategy in this game, and beyond the initial random setup, you're going to find that this is a more of a perfect information game. I hope that you've enjoyed this look at Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Okay, everybody. Well, I've been talking about Kickstarter, and I'm not a big fan of the Kickstarter website and other things that help out on the end of it. And one of those things is BackerKit. Now, the thing about BackerKit, what I find fascinating about Kickstarter, again, is that they have this really cool website that they've set up. And they set it up for a purpose. This purpose is so you can back people on Kickstarter for their dreams and things. But it's essentially turned into a store. You can call it backing all you want, but it's essentially a store. And yet Kickstarter, even though it is essentially a store, they will never admit this sort of thing. And so their back end is really clunky. If you've ever filled out a survey for Kickstarter, you know that they're just not very useful. You fill out the survey information, you can only fill it out once. You got to be really careful. It can only be sent at specific times. There's just a lot of problems with it. The biggest problem with it being is it just doesn't let you do all the things that you need to do. If you run a project, which I have, they're extremely frustrating on the back end. And you can run these surveys and do everything by hand. And I've done it many times where I sat down and take these Excel documents that it produces and sit there and compare numbers and everything. Enter BackerKit. BackerKit shows up and says, we'll handle all that for you. And it's tempting. Now, BackerKit will charge you money, but they guarantee you pretty much that you will make the money back, because when BackerKit comes on board, you go in and it's a much nicer organized thing. You can change things. It lets you add things on after view backed. And most of the big Kickstarters use it. They really do. And it makes sense because you can go in, you can go log into BackerKit later on and see what you've done. It makes changing your address easier. It makes adding things easier later on. It's just a much better system all around. I still don't understand why BackerKit exists though. Why can't Kickstarter just incorporate this into their webpage? No one has ever been able to explain it to me. I mean, my nefarious thoughts are like, well, do they have like a deal? You know, BackerKit's paying Kickstarter? No, that can't be right. Is there competitors to BackerKit? Yeah, there's some out there too, so there's not that. But why does Kickstarter make things like this necessary? Why don't they have a nice system? But I think the real reason is, other than why should they change? The money's rolling in. They don't need to do anything. They just sit there and run the website. But I think that the other reason is that they are still saying, well, it's not a store. BackerKit shouldn't be necessary. This is all about donating to somebody and being a patron of their arts or whatever they're doing. Who knows? But either way, I'm glad BackerKit exists because they do a useful service to Kickstarter.
Hi, this is Jamey Stegmaier of Stegmaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about building your crowd. This is an incredibly important aspect of crowdfunding, with the key aspect being that when you hit that launch button on day one of your campaign, if you don't have a number of people who are already really excited about what you're building, or at least know who you are and are aware of you, then the chances of you succeeding are greatly diminished. So today I'm going to talk about 5 out of 10 things that I talk about on my blog of 10 daily actions to build your crowd. These are all relational actions, things that can connect you with people and make you more visible, especially within the board game community. The first is to help a stranger. So one specific thing I'd recommend is to either go to a Facebook forum where people are talking about Kickstarter projects or game design, and people will always go there and ask for advice. Chime in on one of those threads and offer your 2 cents. Show people that you are adding value to them and being generous with your time. On the flip side, people really like to give advice. So go on those same forums and ask for advice. Don't make it promotional, but just say, ask a question that would not just benefit you in a public place, but would also benefit other people and engage those who offer their advice to you. 3, talk positively about the competition. We all have games we like or don't like. I recommend not going out of your way to talk publicly and negatively about the games you don't like. Rather, go on Board Game Geek and talk about a game that you love. Go on one of the threads about any game that you love on Board Game Geek and just talk about it. Hang out there for a few minutes and offer your thoughts. 4, write a thank you note, even just a short message, to a designer or creator who you really admire, or publisher, anyone that you really admire. Creating that personal aspect of gratitude can really go a long way, especially if you're not asking for anything, if you're just showing gratitude. And 5, comment on one media creator's blog or podcast or YouTube channel, or a project update of a project that you're currently backing. Just that action of commenting and becoming publicly visible with your real name, definitely use your real name, can really help increase the number of people who are aware that you even exist in the board gaming community. Those are the 5 steps. You can find 5 more on my blog at the 10 daily actions to build your crowd. Thanks.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Kicking Over Love. I'm Mandy.
Hi guys, I'm Carol.
And today we're going to talk about Kickstarters that, well, we love or maybe need a little bit of love. So Carol, why don't you start and tell us which one you've picked?
All right, so my pick for this week is Legendary Creatures by Pencil First Games. So in this game, you are competing in a trial with other players for renown, earned by performing different deeds such as going on expeditions or working with legendary creatures so that you can earn the rank of Druid and win the game. So this game is my pick for its beautiful art, unique gameplay, and definitely the unique meeples you get.
They're really cute. I have to say that's what drew my eye right away was like, you know, they were nicely done, lots of color. Even the title of this game really drew me in. So looking forward to this one.
Exactly.
So I chose Argent the Consortium, and this is actually the second edition by Level 99 Games, David B. Jr. So I'm a big fan of Millennium Blade, so as soon as I see his name, I'm like, okay, what's this game about? So in this game, it's about magic. So we have mages who wield powers, and they're going to displace other characters, and players basically get to cast spells to interfere with other opponents' actions. So you can gain treasures, which provide defensive tools, and supporters can quickly shift the balance of power, basically in any direction. And then it's a hybrid between the American and like Euro style play. So like, oh, this is right up my alley.
You know, these are great ones to look forward to, but we don't normally do this, and I have to say that there is a Game of Thrones game that is launching on Kickstarter soon. It's launching July 25th, probably by the time this video gets published, but it's a miniatures game, and partially designed by Eric Lang, and it's got miniatures. Do with that what you will, but I'm ready to take out my wallet and just start flinging it around. I'm excited.
Two games for you. The upcoming A Song of Ice and Fire. So we had to, do that for the whole Game of Thrones bit. And then games currently on Starter, Argent the Consortium 2nd Edition, Legendary Creatures. So those are our picks this week, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's another show for Crowdsurfing. Thanks so much for watching, folks. Don't spend too much money on Kickstarter. You're not going to get this stuff until next year or the year after anyway. But that's okay. Lots of cool projects out there. Go support the ones you think are fantastic. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching Crowdsurfing.